Salutations, fellow viewers. This is Starless Plains, and welcome to a game called Trick and Treat, a visual novel and a free-to-play game on Steam. If you wanted to check out the game by yourself, the link is on the description below. Not much as I've trying to read the description of this game, but I don't want to spoil myself of what this is. All I know is that there's like two people. One's like half cat, one human, and the other one's like a treesel or something. But I don't want to spoil myself too much on this game, but I figured I would have this game a go. Oh, and by the way, this game has been released about a month ago, so enough talking. Let's start. Boy, that's creepy. The sound of our steps, combined with that of the occasional nocturnal animal, is the only thing we can hear. It's terribly dark in this place. The dense vegetation makes it impossible to see the sky or light from the moon. Our flashlights are the only things that light up our way. At times like this, one begs to not run out of battery. We walk without knowing what we are looking for, or better said, for no reason. We are just a group of boys, bored with our lives. Trying to create a lasting memory on this night, instead of just staying home doing nothing. Today is October 31st, All Hallows Eve, better known as Halloween. Three men walk through a dark, but up until now, nothing special forest bring me one of them. Wish they could do better with the grammar, but we're doing it to prove our courage. It's too bad there isn't a girl here to see how brave we are. Seeing it like that, one could say this is a meaningless effort. For a moment, I stopped to look at my watch. It's 1:49 a.m. That means we have been walking aimlessly for more than 2 hours now. I'm sure that many people would find a place like this terrifying. But once you get used to it, the fear disappears, making it feel like normal. What makes us afraid of the dark is that we cannot know what hides in it, what lurks in the shadows. But this is clearly an empty darkness. At that moment, I sigh, feeling how tired my legs are. What is the point of being here? Clearly we had already demonstrated what we wanted. It would be best to return. I should tell them. I was about to speak when suddenly the atmosphere in the forest became strange. Suddenly a cold chill ran through my body. It was like any other chill, except it was not going away. For no reason, the air's temperature dropped from one second to another. So much so, my breath became visible, turning into mist. It doesn't end there. The air is now filled with a rotten smell, just a little short from being unbearable. Images of worms and flies soon appear in my mind, giving me a really unpleasant feeling. We all stop at a moment. Axel, what's happening? I asked, confused while turning to look at my friends. By the expression on their faces, it was easy to know that they were just as lost as I was. It was then that we heard footsteps nearby that did not come from any of us. We all got dead quiet after that. I don't know if it was out of fear or check if it was on a mistake, but we stayed motionless, like statues, without making a noise. Just looking at each other's faces, wondering the same thing. Friend, what was happening? As if I could know. We heard the steps again. They clearly belonged to a human, or at least to a large animal, but there is something strange about them. It sounds as if the person walked dragging one foot. Just thinking about it made me shiver. Damn, why is this happening? It makes no sense. We should have returned home before, but now it's too late to regret it. I have the feeling that we are being stalked by someone. The strange footsteps stop, but I am still feeling the presence nearby. I don't know where it is, but I know that it's looking at me. That cursed thing is looking at me. heart is beating anxiously. It's almost as if my body was telling me to get out of there. But strangely, my friends seemed unable to perceive it. It seems that it's gone. It must have been just an animal, said one of the convinced that we were safe. I would like to believe that too. We had a sigh of relief. However, bad luck would soon strike us again. Unexpectedly, the forest becomes darker than before in just the blink of an eye. But that wasn't the fault of the forest, but our flashlights, which went out. Of the three, only one, mine, was still working. What's going on? Did the batteries die? Asked one of them, scared, while they both beat them desperately, as if that was going to revive them. I can't blame him. The idea of walking into the darkness was not pleasant for anyone. But after a few moments, we had no choice but to resign ourselves to that. Once more, the sound of our footsteps is heard. But the silence is different now. We are not quiet because we have nothing to say, but because we are afraid. We continue walking despite the fear that invades us. Visibility is almost zero, but we have no choice. In theory, we were walking back looking for the exit, but I cannot remember anything of this forest. We could be walking in circles, and I would never notice it until it is too late. I hate the thought of it. I just wanted to get out of here. Suddenly, my thoughts are silent. We heard the footsteps of someone, or something. Once more, the three of us become statues, awaiting the presence to go. I hold my breath while feeling my heart beating anxiously. Damn, get away from here and leave us alone. Unexpectedly, the steps are heard closer. This time they do not disappear but rather come to us. I can't stand it. Desperately, I move my flashlight whatever looking for the author of those footsteps, hoping for the light to reveal their identity and erase our fears. Nothing. Is that all there is around here? Just empty air? My anxiety grows with each failed attempt. I refuse to believe that it was a ghost. Suddenly, when I move the flashlight again, I see a silhouette. I could not distinguish what it was, but for a moment, the light revealed something. Quickly, I point the same place, only to discover it was gone. I hold my breath anxiously, but it was not an illusion. I'm sure that I saw something. It was then that I hear something nearby. Without even thinking, I aim the light towards that place. What I found leaves us paralyzed with an expression of disbelief in our faces. It was a white cat with eyes of an intense red which stands before us. Her look is not the friendliest to say something. Somehow I get the feeling it's a female cat. Suddenly it gets out a thunderous meow that leaves us terrified. It sounds more like a lion roaring than a simple cat. The echo of her meow is heard throughout the forest, making it sound more sinister than it could be. It was then that suddenly an inexplicable force hits us three. Okay then. I fall to the ground, and little by little my eyelids close. The fatigue becomes unbearable. I lose consciousness on the ground of the forest without knowing what was going to happen with me. Interlude. Before night falls. Oh, we're in the interlude. It was a day like no other, so normal that it was almost painful. The only special thing that could be said about it is that it's October 31st. Far were the memories when I was a kid and went out with my friends to ask for sweets from house to house. Just remembering it made me sigh. I feel nostalgic. Some things are better when I was a kid, or at least seems like that. There were some who had good costumes, whether of superheroes or monsters. My friends and I, on the other hand, had to use our imagination. Creativity was our costume, you could say, no matter how funny it could sound. I remember that my mother once painted red my face and told me, "You will be the devil." Oh boy. But it seems only she saw it that way When we went from home to home, everyone said I was the tomato man. But those things didn't matter to me since we always had a good time. If I ask for candy now, even if I had the best costume, I'm sure no one would give me anything. Except perhaps a scolding for acting like a child when I am 17 years old. But anyway, I can't stay in the past. I must live in the present, no matter how little exciting that might be. Back to reality, we are a group of friends who don't have any plans for today. We're still not old enough to go to a disco. And I doubt guys as us would have any luck in that environment. The other option would be go to a party, meeting girls and have fun. Everything perfect, except that nobody has invited us. Not being popular has its disadvantages. I hear you on that. Friend, hey Axel, let's have a couple of matches. What will you say? Our friend Steven called my attention while playing with the game console. Rush Red, I believe that's what the game is called. A fast and quite complicated fighting game for me. I would normally agree to play with him, but for some reason I don't feel it in the mood today. I have no desire to play now. I replied with discouragement. I always feel bad for doing it. Boring. The AI is no rival for me. Steven said with confidence. That you're playing on normal difficulty does not help your argument. I don't feel like losing, but if you want, you can challenge to Alfred. I said, leading the attention to my other friend. I don't know how to play that, answered Alfred, downing for a second. He is sitting behind the PC, but it seems that he isn't doing anything interesting. The screen only shows a lot of text. I think he is in Wikipedia. Hey, don't you have something more fun to do? I asked with discouragement, without even thinking about what he was reading. Alfred looked at me surprised. An actual problem of society is that people are not interested in discovering their history. He is one of those pseudo-intellectuals always looking for any rare information to appear smarter than others. When we forget our past mistakes, we are doomed to repeat it. We added later. What are you talking about? The village is small, and its story is not interesting at all. Nothing outside the normal has ever happened in it. Alfred laughs mockingly after hearing that. Your ignorance is worthy of praise. He paused, filling his chest with pride. The very fact it is a small town is the reason it's full of mysteries. Did you know that 20 years ago, on this date, a man disappeared? So, what about it? I asked without being impressed or even interested in the least. Things like that happen all the time in all places. So, as I thought, you don't know the history despite living in this very place. Alfred said while adjusting his glasses in an ignorant gesture. There is a legend behind the disappearance. That is what I was reading. After listening to him, I looked back at the computer screen with curiosity. It's then that I noticed that it was not Wikipedia, but some other page. Come on, read this, and learn a little. Alfred said, inviting us to read what was on the screen. Both Stephen and I moved closer to read it. The town of Abingdon, Oxfordshire Country, 1994. I came to this town with only 4,000 inhabitants to support them in an investigation. Truth is that never in my life have I seen something this strange. I won't say your typical detective-ish nonsense that I have seen thousands of strange things in my life. I've seen many crimes, yes. Some difficult to solve, but all of them were human. Even if you don't know how they managed to penetrate the crime, you know that they are people like anything else. In this case, I don't think I am able to say the same thing. Truth is that I can't understand what happened. I was called for the disappearance of a man named Matthew Graham. 23 years old, single. The last time he was seen was returning home from a Halloween party. He had drank alcohol, but was still sober. Or at least that's what witnesses said. Anyway, this is not something we can be explained with a simple drunkenness. He apparently got lost on the way home and decided to enter the forest called Oakwood. It was rain yesterday, so the ground was wet and muddy. We could easily find his traces, which were leading deep inside the forest. Apparently, he walked for 3 hours before stopping. I say stop, but the truth is, we don't know what happened then. The tracks only ended up in a clearing in the forest, and that's all. There's no evidence of struggle, no other trace, or pieces of clothing on the ground. There was no blood, no more footprints, or anything else. The death of his last footprint and the position they were indicated that he was still walking. At no point he stood still. It was as if he had vaporized in the air, with all his clothes, in the middle of his walk. Obviously, I can't believe such a thing, but I can give another explanation. The only thing I remember is that the near footsteps I sent a faint smell of rot. However, there was no animal corpses nearby. It is ridiculous to think he suddenly walked to decay and became earth. In the end, the case was closed in just 3 days. With no evidence of any kind, we couldn't say anything but that he decided to escape from the village. However, while officially there was no more to do, I couldn't sleep in peace. Thinking about what could have happened to him took away my sleep. In my mind, I thought all sorts of theories. Like maybe everything was planned and developed by Matthew. But in the end, they all seem impossible. I decided to investigate more on this issue. I searched the town for similar stories, and to my surprise, I found 4 more, all young men. The story was always the same. They walked into the forest alone, disappearing without trace. Even more curious is that all of them disappeared on the same date, October 31st. But there is more. A detail that completely eliminates the possibility that there is a killer or kidnap behind this, and that is the separation of the years. Roger Bacon disappeared in 1924. Michael Smith disappeared in 1867. Jason Black disappeared in 1813. And the worst of all, Oswald Taylor disappeared in 1707. Wow. It simply couldn't be possible. My curiosity led me to dig deeper. I thought that the answer may be in the past of the forest. It was then I discovered that it seemed to be a simple and boring forest actually hid a great story. Before it was called Oakwood or Oak Forest, the place was called Wishwood. I think that's how it's pronounced. The word witch was huge similarity with witch. Taking into consideration that it's an old name and language changed over time, that indicates that it was the Forest of Witches. Apparently, more than 400 years ago, the people of the village believed witches live in the woods. Unfortunately, almost all the information is already lost. There were stories told in voice, without a properly written record. I just know that in the change of religion to Christian, people stopped seeing the witches with good eyes and began to hunt them. Apparently, the last one before her death cast a curse on the forest, which even today could continue to exist. Anyway, obviously, I cannot accept something like that as the answer. In the end, I have no other choice than accepting that each one of them escaped from the village, using the legend of the forest to make it look like it was something supernatural. Interesting story. I didn't know that such a story was hiding in this town. I said, honestly surprised, even if it was a lie, it managed to hold my interest. Wait, there's something more, Alfred said at the same time he scrolled to the comments. We read what's written there. A couple of comments called our attention. Both of them talked about some creature. At that time, they felt a horrible fear for what could happen to them. Well, the 2 comments shared great similarities. But they could have been written by the same person. There are many others that deny it. Looks like many people went to the forest because of the legend but couldn't find anything. I thought that you only read these things to look more cool before the girls, replied Stephen as a joke. Alfred giggled with a little shame. Partly, yes. He admitted it. This was a secret above anybody silently knew. Well, now we have an activity for tonight, Stephen said at the same time he makes a face overflowing with enthusiasm. What? I asked completely lost. I thought we were just killing time. Simple. Let's go to the forest, Stephen replied without hesitation. He seemed really fascinated by the story. Are you insane? He said said Alfred, unable to believe what he just heard. You only needed to look at his face to know he did not like the idea. Despite everything we heard, you want to go? Of course, it would be a test of courage among us three, replied Stephen, full of confidence. Perhaps just too much. He should relax a bit. Don't tell me you're afraid. No, why would I be afraid? Answered Alfred, at the same time he folded his arms, making a false gesture of security. It's more than obvious that you are, Alfred. Almost as much as when you have talked with a girl. Ah. And what about you, Axel? Don't tell me you won't come. Suddenly Stephen asked me, at the same time looking at me mockingly. Don't tell me you want to be the chicken of the group. I hate the tone of voice he used. I will never forgive you that. I will never give you that. I said without thinking, showing a confident smile and look. Well, let's not say more. Take your coats, backpacks, flashlights, and some food. We are going to the forest, Stephen said, full of energy. Yeah! We three said in unison, as if we're going to have some kind of private party. Not really knowing what we're doing or what we're going to find. 2:13 a.m. Well, we're starting to get a little bit more in depth with the story. Even grabbing a little history lesson. Alright, onwards. I awake completely confused, not knowing how much time had passed. My head hurts like hell, but I can't blame it. Fortunately, the pain goes away quickly, just as my confusion. Soon I came back to my senses. My flashlight is laying on the ground, shining towards the empty air. I immediately picked it up. It was my only protection against the darkness that surrounds me. Then I remember that Stephen and Alfred were with me. Stephen? Alfred? Can you hear me? Without thinking, I screamed their names in the dark while trying to find them with my flashlight, but there is no trace of them. They are gone. Oh boy. Where the hell are they? And what the heck just happened? I really don't understand anything. Shit, we should have stayed home. This is not a proof of courage. We could be in danger. I have to find them. 2:19 a.m. Little time has passed since I started to look for my friends. I already can't stand this place. I'm going crazy in this forest. The darkness that covers it is unnatural. It is a darkness that steals your own sanity, replacing it with anxiety. To make it worse, the air is damp and cold as in winter, carrying a strong rot smell. As if there were corpses of animals hidden throughout the forest. The atmosphere in this place is oppressive. With every step you take, it makes you more uncomfortable. Since I started to look for my friends, I felt that something is watching me. But there is nothing. I sighed with my voice full of frustration. I just wanted to get out of here. I continued walking devoid of any hope. No matter where I look or how much I walk, I find nothing. I can't even hear the sound of animals. Rather, it seems that they are already dead or rotting. No, I have to calm myself, I said to myself. I stopped for a moment to rest. I breathed deeply, but the rotten air of this place does me no good. Immediately, I start to cough as if I had something stuck in my throat. Shit! What am I gonna do? This cursed forest seemed endless. And even if by miracle I could escape without abandoning Stephen and Alfred, I really screwed up. Again, I sigh, feeling the verge of tears. My frustration is building up, but I have to do my best to keep calm. If I fall in despair, then there is no doubt I will be joining the list of missing persons. In the end, I decided to keep walking. Step by step, I should get somewhere. And at least I was convinced that staying in the same place would not do me any good. Even if it was only to deceive myself feeling that I am doing something, I wanted to continue walking. Time passes without any changes. Only the sound of my footsteps can be heard. Knowing that as soon as you stop until you're surrounded by the dead silence is a good incentive to keep walking. But my legs are already hurting. Suddenly, I hear a crack on my feet. Instantly, I take a step back and look below me to see what made that sound. What is this? I whisper to myself, surprised and discover that I have stepped into an animal bone. I believe that it's from an animal, although I do not rule out the possibility that it belongs to a person. But, but for my own good, I prefer to not think about that. An expression of anguish is drawn on my face. It is best to ignore it. I have to keep walking. Suddenly, my flashlight reveals something. Without hesitation, I point towards there again. Aww. Only to realize that the surprise is the white cat. The one found before, which made the awful meow, but this time I found it lying on the ground. Hope it's not dead. It appears to be fainted and wounded. Then, what should I do? Yay! Now we're on to the choices. Should I ignore the cat or pick her up? I don't know. I really love animals, especially cats. Well, actually, I love all animals. So, let's assist. It's best to continue without walking her. That cat is dangerous. It's her fault that I ended up in a place that my friends are missing. But even knowing that, some strange reason, I can't help but feel sorry for her. Even if it's unnatural, it is still an animal. I then bend down to see her closer. She is unconscious, and there is a thin line of blood coming from her mouth. I'm a real idiot, I said to myself, and at the same time I cleaned the blood from her mouth with the handkerchief that I had with me. Fortunately, she didn't wake up. I then closed her mouth, making her appearance a little better. Now she seemed to be peacefully asleep. Blech. After a long sigh, I decided to pick her up carefully. I don't know what the powers of this cat are, but if she brought me here, maybe she can return me to my world. With her in my arms, I decided what the best thing I can do is to continue walking. 2:31 a.m. Again, I find myself in the dark forest walking aimlessly, only moving forward, but it didn't seem I was getting somewhere. In my arms, I can carry the cat, which sleeps soundly. Come here. Here you'll be safe. I suddenly stop. It was probably easy to see the disbelief in my face at that moment. It's that voice again. I whispered to myself with no one to listen to me. Shortly after I found the cat, a mysterious voice appeared in my mind. It is a feminine voice, soft and gentle, as if it belonged to a princess from a fairy tale, but I can't trust it. Am I really going crazy? Or is this forest that doesn't make any sense? I don't know, but I don't like any of the two options. I then feel the cat move in my arms. I look down at her confused, just to see how she opens her red eyes suddenly. I became quiet at that instant. For a moment, the two stayed silent, motionless, staring into the eyes of the other. The red eyes of the cat are disturbed to me, but also there is something fascinating about them, something that attracts me. I lose myself in her eyes as if hypnotized. Until suddenly she jumped with the intention of scratching my face. Ouch! My reflexes is pushing her at the same time I jump back, turning my head to dodge her claws. I managed to dodge her attack, but in the process I dropped my flashlight. I panicked and acted clumsily. The flashlight falls near me, lighting up a tree in the vicinity. As soon as it left my hands, I remember how dense this abnormal darkness is. I quickly pick it up, not even thinking before taking action. Then I light the place where the cat was, only to discover she had arched her body angrily, as if she feared an attack from me. Those red eyes stare at me, shining with the light of the flashlight as if they were jewels, reflecting a fearsome hatred and rejection towards me. My body freezes after seeing them. I can't even think. The cat then lets out a thunderous meow, similar to the one before, but weaker, although not any less frightening. There's no doubt that there is something wrong with that animal. It must be cursed. Everything is her fault. She must be some kind of evil spirit, a pet of the witches. I feel how panic seizes me. My heart beats quickly, begging me to do something. My mouth is dry and my forehead covered with cold sweat. What should I do? Escape the cat? Confront the cat? I don't know. I don't know what's up with me, but I'd rather try to calm the cat first. No, I should not despair. I have to calm down and think carefully about what I should do. With that in mind, I take a deep breath and look again at her. With the expression of my eyes change from fear to courage, I realize it is only a cat, without a doubt a strange one, but in my life it's not actually in danger. That that isn't a tiger staring at me, but a simple cat. Apparently her only power are those weird meows. If she could kill me, she could have already done it. So I rule out that possibility. Her work must be transporting the next victim to this area of the forest, so unnatural and shady. After filling my lungs with air, I slowly walk towards the cat. Her meows get louder with every step, but I do not let them scare me. Seeing that I do not turn my back, she shyly takes a step back. In my mind, I smile at the image. The prey is now the hunter. I look at her directly while advancing. Little by little, her meows become weaker, as if she was losing strength. Then I suddenly jump and take her in my hands. She hardly resists at all. Not so tough now, right? You look better like this. She's trembling in my hands. She looks so helpless that I almost felt like a villain. But I must not forget all that she has done so far. It's her fault that I'm in this place. She brought me here. Then if I would kill her, would it be possible to go back? For a moment, that grim idea crossed my mind. I have never killed an animal. Truth is that I can't be proud of myself to doing such a thing. I'm on the same boat like that. But if I do, maybe this legend could end here and now. Then, what should I do? No way. Keep her captured. This is only logical. The magic should die along with the cat. That should be my ticket back. If I kill her, anything would be over tonight, and the legend would come to an end. Confident that it was for the best, I try to view it in my mind. But no matter how hard I force myself to see it, in the end, I am unable to take the life of another living being. Even if it's a cursed cat serving a witch, I don't feel good killing her. I think it's too nice for my own good. So the only thing that remains is to keep her with me, hoping that sooner or later she allows me to escape. With nothing more to think about, I decided the best thing to do is to continue my path. 2:41 a.m. Alright. It's been a few minutes since I captured the cat. Again, I find myself walking with her in my arms, led by the strange voice. How long have I been walking in the forest? Apparently not enough to make me go mad, but it should be close. Don't be afraid. Come with me. I will help you. The voice sounds closer this time. It seems that I'm going in the right direction. I don't fully trust in it, but it's the best I have. At least at first glance, it seems a friendly voice. I'm completely focused on my way when I suddenly feel something bite me. Ow! What the heck? I shout in pain, realized that the cat bit my arm. Fortunately, it wasn't a dangerous bite, but it sure was painful. With my distraction, she takes the chance to jump from my arms, falling a few steps from me. I quickly set my gaze upon her, furious, but soon something happened that makes me forget about my anger. Huh? Suddenly, the cat is covered with a bright light, so much that repels the unnatural darkness surrounding the forest, stealing my breath. Under the light, a figure gradually changes until it ceases to be a cat and becomes a human figure. No longer is there a cat in front of me, but a girl with incredible beauty. I must really be going crazy. She has white hair and red eyes. She seems about my age. In other circumstances, I could have asked her out without hesitation. Yeah, if you had the chance. Just thinking about it makes me laugh to myself in my mind. Even at the edge of madness, it seems some things about it will never change. She approached slowly towards me, one step at a time, with no fear. The girl then stares into my eyes, with a slightly irritated face. Her lips are moving. She seems to be saying something, but I am unable to hear a sound. Are you trying to tell me something? I babbled, still confused, with a face of disbelief, which surely made me look stupid. Said the girl with a very low voice. I do not understand what she's saying. What? I can't hear you well. I asked, still confused. Suddenly, the girl pouts in a bad mood. What's wrong with you? Are you deaf? Finally, I could hear her clearly. And just in time before it seems her patience was about to end. Okay, okay, now I can hear you, I said, annoyed. All my astonishment from a few seconds ago disappeared when I see the arrogant attitude of the girl. At least now I don't think she will bite me. I hope. The girl then snorts with irritation. What an annoying guy I had to find, she said in the time she placed a hand on her lip, making a pensive face. Wait, you shouldn't speak ill of someone you have right before you. I was quick to respond. For a moment, I feel annoyed at the thought that I have to teach a manners up to the spirit, or whatever she is. A pity so beauty wasted on someone so arrogant. The girl let out a snort of annoyance after hearing me. I'm sorry, it's a bad habit that I can't quit, she answered without sounding very repentant, clearly a false apology. After talking, she diverts her gaze towards the surroundings as if she was bored. I see, I replied, annoying. I just met her, and I already feel I don't like her. But anyway, that doesn't matter. I must not forget who this girl is. She was the cat that started it all. Anyway, at least could you tell me why you attacked me and my friends? I asked shortly after acting more seriously. The greetings were over. It's time to get to the important stuff. And why did you bite me if I wasn't doing anything? Before I knew it, my lips move asking without another question. I cannot lie. I was angry. The girl then stares at my face. She blinks with curiosity before speaking. Does it hurt? The wound? She asked innocently. Yes. I was quick to respond with annoyance. I didn't need to say more. Of course it still hurts me, silly cat. She looks at me with silence for a few seconds until suddenly she approaches me without any shyness or fear. On second thought, how could a simple human such as me scare a cat that could turn into a person? Show me your wound, said the girl once she stood right next to me. Her presence makes me nervous. This girl seemed to not know what personal space is. And embarrassing as it sounds, I have never had a girl this close. If only it wasn't in this forest. I don't know why. I shouldn't trust her, but strangely, something tells me that she has no bad intentions. The girl is surrounded by a calm aura, something pure unlike anything else in the forest. In the end, resigning myself with a sigh, I show her my arm with a bite. Immediately, the girl sets her sights on my wound. It'll only take a moment, she said with complete confidence. She then looked up into my eyes. Could you close your eyes? Well, she's blushing, she asked as she blushes slightly. I'm surprised to see that embarrassed face she has, even if just a little. Then I sigh, feeling something wasn't right, that there is nothing else I can do. Okay. And that said, I said, doing as she asked. I don't know what to expect. For a moment, I thought she would get naked or something like that. No. But what kind of magic can work only when you have no clothes? I don't know, but my mind sure wasn't wanted to imagine that. Come on, Axel, keep your composure. Suddenly, I feel something warm and wet touch my wound. Immediately, I shudder. Wait, what are you doing? It's a stupid question because I knew well what she was doing. She was licking my wound. You idiot. Who said you could watch? Was quick to respond the cat. With her cheeks red in embarrassment and her lips still close to my wound, she looked adorably troubled. Don't you see that I'm trying to heal you? She then added in a bad mood. I'm sorry, I said, blushing. I thought you would do something more extraordinary. No, I'm not sure. Is she a girl who could transform into a cat, or a cat that can become a girl? Sorry to disappoint you not being extraordinary enough, murmured the girl at the same time she gives me an annoyed look, red eyes shining with disgust. Is it then that I realized that the pain had disappeared? With curiosity, I look where the wound was, only to discover that there is no trace of it. For a couple of seconds, I stay silent, incredulous. It seems that your treatment worked, I finally said, grateful, looking at the spot. But of course, I have experience healing myself. answered the girl, closing her eyes and inflating her chest to show her pride. I actually appreciate that she did, but I still wonder if she really had to lick it to cure me. I understand, but who are you? The girl makes a small snort with curiosity after hearing my question. She then tilts her head and closes her eyes, making a thoughtful face. It seems I have not presented myself. She opens her eyes and gazes into mine. My name is Ashley. So that's her name. I expected something more extravagant. My name is Axel. By the way, have you ever been accused of witchcraft? Before I knew it, I asked that question. I guess it was rather rude of me, completely lacking in manners. But I must not forget for even a second that I am in this cursed forest. Ashley suddenly becomes silent. At plain sight, it was obvious she didn't take it as well. She takes her time before responding. Yes, but that was a long time ago. She then closed her eyes and exhaled, emptying her lungs. She seemed to be recalling something painful. Just seeing her made me feel guilty. I'm sorry, it was not my intention to make you remember it. I said, slightly remorseful. No doubt to be accused of witchcraft must have been a horrible experience. Ashley closed her eyes and nodded a couple of times. It's okay. It's not like I can blame your curiosity seeing where we are. She then looked at me closely with curious eyes. By the way, how do you know about me? Perhaps you are a sorcerer who has lived during these past centuries? She asked, narrowing her eyes as if she was trying to see the inside of my mind. What kind of question is that? No, nothing like that. I answered at the moment. I'm just an ordinary person. I admitted, boring, that she didn't need to know that. It's just that there are stories about witches in this forest. But as you can see, the stories are not very convincing, or else it could be here. I explained, trying to remove any doubt. Ashley may have. Again, she closed her eyes and nods. I understand. She pauses and looks at me in the eye. But because of those stupid myths, that stupid humans come to this forest, just like you. She then said, looking at me with rejection. Wait, what are you trying, are we to blame? Well, I'm probably gonna leave it over here. I don't have much time right now. I got other things to do right now, but so far we're getting really in-depth into the storyline. We get to meet this one cat person named Ashley, learning more about the history, but I'm hoping we'll be able to explore more in the story, so thank you all for watching, and hope to see you in the next episode.